Okay, time for another flashlight review. This time I'm going to be doing the Astrolux S43 and the S43S. By the way, check the video description for links to the flashlight. There's discount codes if you want to buy them, and there's links to written reviews that I did. I don't get anything if you buy the lights, but I'm just throwing the discount codes out if you want them. Okay, I've just been throwing out what you get in the box. You get the flashlight, you get body tubes for both the 18650 and 18350 batteries. You get a pocket clip, lanyard, sparrow ring, manual, that kind of stuff. Okay, to go over the features for these lights, they both contain 4 LEDs, either the Nichia 219C emitter for neutral white or the Cree XPG3 for cool white. The output goes from about 0.1 lumens up to, I measure up to 2600 lumens on a very fresh cell. That quickly drops to about the 2100 lumen that's advertised in the specs, but it's extremely bright. The lights can take either an 18650 or an 18350 battery. You'll probably want to use a high drain cell in this case, like a Samsung 30Q or Sony VTC6 or something like that. The lights have built-in micro USB charging. It's a very powerful interface, Narcel M version 1.3. It allows for a lot of programming if you want to customize the light, but generally you'll probably want to just use the ramping interface. It's easy and it's really nice. Other than that, the light has automatic thermal controls because it does get hot, and there's over discharge protection when the battery gets low. I'm going to show the thermal controls for each of these lights. The Astrolux S43S is on the left, and it has a copper head. The Astrolux S43 is on the right, and it has an aluminum head. Other than that, both flashlights are aluminum. You would get the S43S with the copper head if you want a light that can absorb more heat and operate on maximum for most of the time. You probably wouldn't be using these lights on max most of the time. They are small lights, and at 2600 lumens, they heat up very quickly. And we'll see that here. They'll heat up to about 60 Celsius, and then they'll start stepping down. You'll notice the copper version will be able to maintain the output longer than the aluminum version. Go with the aluminum version if you want a lighter light. It's about 60 grams lighter, and it's easier to carry. Okay, well that's running in the background. Let's go over the pros and cons for these lights. What I like about this light is that it's extremely bright. Obviously, you're buying this light because it can go to over 2000 lumens, and it has a wide range of output. So it's going to give you more than enough light that you'll want, and it'll give you very dim light when you want that. It has a very nice user interface. Just leave the defaults on. It's very programmable, but you don't want to program this light. You'll just want to leave it on the defaults. That'll give you a nice ramping interface, and I'll show you that in a bit. It has very nice tint and beam profile, especially with the Nichia 219C emitters. They're high color rendition index emitters. It has built-in micro USB charging. It's well constructed. It's solid. The illuminated switch is nice because it allows you to find the light in total darkness. It has very low standby current, even with the illuminated switch on. It's just microamp, so it'll last for years. And it supports both the 18350 and 18650 battery types, and includes both bodies. As far as the cons go, I would like to see a little more knurling on the body of the light, just for a little bit better grip. The default thermal controls, as we're watching here, tend to be a bit aggressive in their step downs. I think they step down more than they need to. And the other odd thing is if you knock the light hard from the bottom, or drop it on the bottom of the light, it can sometimes shut off. Anyway, we've been watching the thermal controls kick in and step down the lights. As you notice, the copper version of the light tends to step down a little slower than the aluminum version. So, you're probably getting bored of watching this. So let's move on to more of the user interface. The user interface is really easy to use. Basically, you just click the switch to turn on the light, and you hold the switch in order to ramp the light up and down. The light will remember whatever mode you were using when you shut it off. So the next time you click to turn on the light, it'll just turn on into the last mode. The top of the ramp is around 1400 lumens, 1400 lumens, something like that. It's about twice as bright if you go into turbo mode, but by normal use, the top of the ramp is about half output. That would give you much longer run times than what I was showing in the thermal control setups, because at half output, it's going to heat up much more slowly. Here I'm just showing that you can ramp both up and down just by clicking and holding the light. It's quite intuitive to use. If you overshoot and then you press the button and hold it again, it'll lower the output. Or if you just wait a while, it'll continue on the ramp. So it's a bit difficult to explain. Use the light for half a minute and you'll know how to use it. You can double click the switch at any time, off or on, in order to enter turbo mode, and that's full output at over 2000 lumens. You can triple click the switch in order to check the battery, and that just blinks out the battery voltage, 3 blinks for the 3 volts, and then a number of blinks for the decimal voltage. You can quadruple click the switch in order to lock it out, and this will prevent the light from being turned on accidentally if you're carrying it. You have to quadruple click the switch again in order to turn it back on. You can also mechanically lock out the switch just by twisting the tail cap a little bit, loosening it, and that'll stop it from turning on as well. And finally, you can quintuple click the switch, that is 5 times quickly, and that'll turn the light into a tactical mode or a momentary mode. And this means that whenever you press the switch and hold it, it's going to turn on right away into turbo. So this would be useful for, if you just want to use the light on maximum for brief periods of time, you can put on this mode, and then just whenever you click the switch, it'll be on just for however long you hold the switch. Now you do have to loosen the battery compartment again in order to put it back into normal mode. One other thing I wanted to show you here is the switch LED gives you some information that you won't find in the documentation. And that is, you notice that it can either blink once or twice depending on the output of the light. If it blinks once, it's using the linear driver of this light, which is a more efficient driver. That's up to about 150 lumens. It will run very efficiently. If it's blinking twice, it's using the FET driver, which gives it a very high output, but it's a less efficient driver. So it's just useful feedback if you want to make sure you're using the light in the most efficient way possible. And here I'll just show you some outdoor shots of the light just to give you an impression of the beam. You can see the beam is extremely floody. It lights up a huge area. It doesn't throw a long distance, but it's going to light up everything near you very well. As you can see here, I'm just ramping up and down the light. Here it is in moonlight, and it's just barely on. But very easily you can double click to go into turbo, and it's a very impressive light at near distances. I'll just briefly show you here the differences between the 18650 configuration and the 18350 configuration. The 18650 configuration I find more useful because this is a very powerful light. The 18650 has a higher capacity battery and it can run a lot longer. But if you want to use the light in a pocket carry kind of situation and you want it as small as possible, you'll probably want to use the 18350 body tube. And there you can just replace the 18650 tube, screw in the 18350 tube, and it makes for a much smaller light. I find if you're going to pocket carry it, you probably want this smaller version just because it is so much easier to fit in your pocket. By the way, the light does use a lot of amps from the battery. You're probably using at least 10 amps if you're using a good high quality high drain cell. So the light will take either protected or unprotected cells, but you'll probably want to use an unprotected cell just because it gives you the best drain option. All right, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, guys.